you're empathetic for them, you don't let them just camp out and shit on the street. What you do is you try to say, hey, obviously we have a real problem. This needs to be addressed for the greater good of the city and for these people. They need mental health care. They need addiction care. It's a real problem that needs to be addressed. You can't just leave them out in the street and let them do whatever they want and become a hazard for everybody else. Then it makes the city kind of fucked up.
Well, I don't know when you speak it sounds like more of a political choice.
No.
Someone's saying, well, it sounds like you're saying they're being, paid to shit on the streets and
I'm not saying
become
they're
mentally
being
ill.
paid to shit on the streets.
I always felt like mental illness happened first before living on the street.
Unquestionably. And it's all during the Reagan administration when they opened up the mental health institutes and just let people out in the streets.
Well, it started before that in New York. And that was my experience in New York was like Rockefeller, way back when, and I could be wrong, but this is how it was attributed, sort of closed up the mental health hospitals and pushed these many, many, many people out on the streets.
Yeah.
That had nowhere to go, and it wasn't a poverty situation, although it looks like it when you look at it. It's really a mental health situation, and a great number of these people have no interest in going into a place.
Right.
They would just as soon live on the street. Their life is like an interior monologue that they can't control, and living in a home is no different than living on the street. The thing is still going on. The conversation is still going on inside the brain.
But there has to be a solution for it.
Well, okay, so I don't disagree that there has to be a solution, but I don't think that people are. This is sort of like where, I'd like to think about, let's not talk politics. Let's agree like what we can agree on. So that solution is like, this is where the great minds of California or the United States need to come together and say, okay, why don't we solve these problems that are common to every state has a city that has X number of people living on the street, whether it's Yankton, whether it's, Minneapolis, whether it's, Louisville, whatever. Everyone's got like a street scene situation that's rough like that. And it's hard to say, you say there's got to be a solution. Where's that going to come from, and who's going to believe it if it comes from this direction or that direction or this side or that side? How do you like evaporate the walls of separation and say, like, how do we get the right people with the right minds to solve these questions? These are real things, and people argue about them. You and I are not arguing, but we're talking about it.
Yeah.
And neither one of us are sleeping on the street.
Right.
We both feel compassion for it, empathy for it. But how do you get people that are far removed, and we could say we're far removed from it, to like allow the solution to take place
from one side or the other?
From one side, any side. Who gives a damn who's got it right?
Well, it has to be a completely bipartisan thing. We have to look at it in terms of the health of human beings in our community, right? This country is supposed to be our community. These people that are on the street, they are sad, sick people in our community. And some real effort has to be taken to try to change that instead of just enable them to keep doing it. That's all I'm saying. I just don't think that the solution is let them camp wherever they want, let them shit in the streets.
I'm not. There's no argument to what you're saying.
No, I don't think
no
you are
argument.
arguing.
So you were in this situation. You had this. People call it a platform or a place where you invite people to come here that can speak to lots of people.
Yeah.
How many people watch your show?
A lot.
So there's lots of people watching your show. And when there's people that make sense, you hear it. It rings a bell. It sounds like that. I wish I knew the answer to solving these things. And occasionally, like I say, you see people who are these problem solvers, and the problem solvers come. But people want to choose their own problem solver. It's I know.
There's also money in being a problem solver. That's the problem. One of the big parts of the problem in California in particular is that there's an enormous budget to deal with the homeless. So you have these people that work in these departments that are making $250,000 a year that are just working on the homeless problem, which keeps getting worse every year. There's no incentive to fix anything or change anything, and it's a bunch of bureaucracy. There's a lot of bullshit that gets involved in the business. A buddy of mine who's a lawyer who went to San Francisco, and he was disturbed by it all. He was like, "This is so crazy. Like, what is missing? Do we need more funding?" And they're like, "No, and this guy explained to him, no, they literally have an incentive to keep the homeless problem. There's an enormous number of people that are making a fantastic living in dealing with the homeless
making
issue.
money on the homeless?
Well, there's a giant list of people. We could pull it up if you want to say.
Well,
we don't need to call them out, but
I don't need to,
there's a bunch
just
of
tell me, like, who makes money on the homeless?
the people that are involved in these organizations that are dealing with the homeless, whether it's in Los Angeles or in San Francisco.
You mean, are they like government?
Yes.
People?
Yeah,
They're all
it's government jobs.
or?
Yes. It's all funded by the state. And there's real jobs, like real money. And nothing gets done, nothing changes. In fact, it gets worse every year. Something needs to be done that shows results. Like, what is that? I think it's got to be compassionate. It's got to be something that both the left and the right can agree to.
So I'm trying to follow you.
Okay.
God knows I'm trying. So
Are you having a hard time?
So no, I think we were talking earlier about the agents versus the architects or something like that. You used a word that explained like the people who are like coming up with the sort of thing. It's like, and I was watching something, and I've really tried to avoid watching the news lately, but I saw someone talking about, and it was someone that works, and you say the word bureaucracy, and it's a loaded word, and we all hate bureaucracy. There's just a word of it.
Yeah.
Gives you like a creepy feeling.
Frustrating word.
Yeah. And so, it's like being on hold for Amtrak or whatever the hell it is, there's someone, oh, please, God, come back. Okay, so please, God, come back. And so the idea this person was talking about the cuts that are going to come and to talk about eliminating the bureaucracy. And I don't know what particular department this person was in or not.
That's not what this person was talking about.
But she was
you're
saying,
talking about a different person.
It's a different person. I don't know what your
Okay.
person is.
Okay.
This is my person.
Okay.
So my person is saying the bureaucracy is like the bureaucracy gets sort of like fed from above somehow or other. It's fed by these people that are the architects of one side or the other. But the actual bureaucracy includes the people that can solve the problem. Like encased in this bureaucracy are people that can solve the problems. And that if you just sort of, I'm not saying this is the case, but if you sort of just like zip a bunch of the bureaucracy out, you run the risk of zipping out some of the people that actually have the brains to do the solutions. And what this person said was the solution to the bureaucracy is within the bureaucracy, that is finding the people that know what can be done, because they really do have the data. They really do work. They actually do show up for work, and they actually have the data on how to do this thing. But because it keeps being fed from above all the time, there's just all this extra debris and noise that keeps coming down that causes more clutter and more splitting and more something.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to suggest that I could solve the question of bureaucracy today, but I think there's something about what we have. We have the people.